In the Western world, the understanding of Asia is pretty limited, but we're mostly in the dark about what's happening in the Democratic Republic of Korea, or North Korea. This East Asian nation stands out as a truly unique place on the planet. North Korea takes pride in keeping its population secluded from the rest of the world, particularly since the Korean War's Armistice in 1953. Ruled by leaders with larger-than-life egos and a penchant for paranoia, it's become one of those mysterious lands where only whispers from spies and intense stories from defectors shed light on what might be going on inside. What filters out about North Korea is strictly controlled by its leadership, leaving us with a limited and curated view of this enigmatic place. Here, let's dive into the 15 most bizarre things that you'll only find in North Korea. Number 15. Generational imprisonment. Kim Jong-un stands as the singular force trying to maintain an ironclad control over 25 million people, many of whom are going through severe hardship. The Kim dynasty has chosen fear as its preferred tool for wielding power, and the repercussions for defying the regime are very harsh. Reports from Human Rights Watch show a harrowing picture. The systematic denial of basic freedoms and constant threats of detention loom over the populace. The country employs prison camps designed to be deliberately cruel, aiming to instill such dread that even the faintest thought of transgression becomes unthinkable, lest one ends up in these torturous confines. Public executions for ambiguous offenses are used as a terror tactic to keep the entire population living in fear. While the oppression in North Korea is appalling, it's sadly not an anomaly on the global stage. Other despotic nations, such as Saudi Arabia and Syria, also inflict severe atrocities upon their citizens. North Korea, however, takes its brutality to an even more extreme level with its three-generation punishment doctrine, a method of collective punishment. Suspected people accused of political crimes are consigned to the cruelest of labor camps, known as Kwan-Lee-So. These places are described as unbearable, with inmates subjected to starvation, beatings, torture, and horrifying sexual abuse. Shockingly, it's not only the convicted person who faces this wrath. Up to 3 generations of their family are punished, regardless of whether others in the family are remotely linked to any crime. In this system, even the most devoted citizen could face a lifetime in a labor camp if a distant relative commits a perceived offense against the regime. Number 14. An internet that barely works. North Korea takes an iron grip on the flow of information reaching its citizens. These strict regulations include the fact that owning a personal computer requires government permission, and these machines are officially registered with the police as if they were weapons. Surprisingly, while the government could outright ban the internet, they haven't. Access to computers is a luxury beyond the reach of most citizens, limited to a minute segment who use computer labs in key locations like offices, universities, and city cybercafes. Yet the North Korean internet experience is a world apart from the global norm. Intriguingly, it's more of an intranet, dubbed Kwangmyong or Bright Star, operating on pirated Japanese versions of Microsoft software, resembling the internet of 1994. The 2016 accidental revelation by a US engineer uncovered the startling truth. Users could access fewer than 30 websites. These sites predominantly showcase propaganda, governmental affairs, and tourism tidbits, along with recipes and local films. The content is basic, and the loading speed is snail-paced, possibly due to many users still reliant on dial-up connections. However, the highest tier of people within the country are exceptions to these limitations. It's estimated that a select few, primarily top government figures, have access to the unrestricted worldwide internet. Number 13. Traffic girls. North Korea's reputation doesn't sparkle with positivity, but amidst the grimness, there's a ray of curiosity and intrigue surrounding their unique traffic girls. These iconic figures have garnered fan pages on the internet, offering a refreshing change from the country's otherwise bleak image. In an era before traffic lights became the norm, North Korea, like many other places, relied on human traffic directors. Pyongyang specifically employed young, attractive, single women for this role. Even though the city now has traffic lights on almost every corner, these women remain a common sight, with approximately 50 of them still performing their duty in the capital. Their presence has gone beyond their role, transforming into national symbols. Surprisingly, being a traffic officer in North Korea is a coveted position. Reports suggest that these officers receive better pay, more food, free housing, and healthcare, elevating their status compared to the average North Korean. They sport sharp, military-style uniforms and dutifully stand at their post, braving all kinds of weather other conditions. Kim Jong-il supposedly took a special interest in them, even going so far as to provide them with new equipment, including fancy platforms with umbrellas. They're not just admired by those in power. Men in the country reportedly hold these traffic women in high regard, finding them highly desired. Their attractive appearance and elevated social standing result in fierce competition for their attention. In a puzzling turn of events, in 2013, one of these traffic girls received North Korea's highest military honor. While footage of the award ceremony circulated, the exact reasons behind this prestigious accolade remained shrouded in ambiguity. One theory spun around the idea that she inadvertently prevented an assassination attempt while managing traffic.
그래서 어거가는 사람들과 모든 차들은 다 저를 보는 것만 같았고 저에게를 오는 것만 같았습니다.
Number 12. Peace Village. In between North and South Korea lies a narrow stretch of land known as the Korean Demilitarized Zone, a buffer zone that symbolizes the enduring state of conflict between the two nations. South Korea constructed a village on their side of the DMZ, intended as a showcase to entice any curious North Koreans with a glimpse of the potential benefits of defecting. This village houses about 226 residents who enjoy a range of privileges: reduced taxes, access to free farmland, exemption from mandatory military service, exceptional schooling, and notably higher household incomes compared to the average. On the flip side, North Korea erected its own propaganda-filled town, labeled as Peace Village, seemingly as an attempt to lure defectors back into the totalitarian fold. However, this village is nothing short of a facade. Despite North Korea's claim that around 200 people inhabit it, in reality, the village stands eerily empty. Buildings, including homes, schools, a daycare, and a hospital, exist merely as hollow concrete shells, devoid of actual inhabitants. They didn't even bother fitting glass into the windows. Lights flicker on and off but appear to operate on an automated schedule. The only human presence witnessed is people brought in to sweep the streets and occasionally tend to the nearby fields to maintain appearances. The village boasts an enormous flagpole, once touted as the tallest globally, erected seemingly for the sole purpose of outstripping the flagpole in the South's propaganda village, accentuating the ideological competition between the two Koreas. Number 11. The strange caste system. In North Korea, the path of your life is often set from the moment you enter the world. Sure, there might be instances of rebellion leading to a stay in a labor camp or daring attempts at escaping the country, but generally your fate is somewhat predictable to your parents. It all hinges on your categorization within North Korea's intricate caste system called songbun. Unlike India's societal structure, this one isn't based on birth, but on a family's perceived loyalty to the government, as outlined by Human Rights Watch. This system traces its roots back to 1957, part of Kim Il-sung's efforts to consolidate authority. But it considers a family's allegiance to Korea dating back to 1910. There are three primary categories, each with numerous subdivisions. If your family has been paragons of loyalty, you're in luck. You might enjoy better access to food in a country that constantly faces scarcity. You might reside in Pyongyang with government-approved privileges, and a job in the government might even be within reach. But if your family falls into the lower echelons, chances are the government will relocate you to a small village where you toil as farmers, enduring grueling labor for the most basic sustenance. The impact truly hits when you hit 17 and aspire to attend college. Only students with an acceptable songbun rating secure entry into the country's top-tier universities. However, there have been instances where admission boards overlooked a lower classification if the applicant somehow managed to offer substantial bribes. Number 10. Miracle cures. North Korea may be lagging behind in many aspects, but it's surprisingly ahead in the health game if you choose to believe their claims. They've created a wonder drug that tackles some of the most dreaded diseases humanity knows. Don't believe it? Well, according to Newsweek, back in 2015, North Korea's Korean Central News Agency proudly declared the inception of the Kumdang-2 vaccine, claiming it could combat Middle East respiratory syndrome. The timing was pretty convenient as South Korea grappled with a deadly outbreak. So of course, North Korea suggested that a migration up north could save lives. But this miracle elixir doesn't just stop at MERS. It's a cure-all, claiming to treat an extensive list of maladies including diabetes, AIDS, heart disease, even the everyday cold. According to them, it tackles everything from harm, from use of computers to aging and radioactivity. They even threw in SARS and Ebola for good measure, just in case. North Korea wasn't shy about boasting clinical evidence, asserting the drug's extensive use on millions of patients. But what was the secret? Ginseng, grown in a special blend of fertilizer, paired with rare earth elements, gold and platinum. If you were curious, this wonder drug was available for purchase via a $25. Now, whether it's a medical marvel or an elaborate sales pitch remains to be seen, but North Korea's claims about this super drug are definitely fascinating. Number 9. A unique calendar. In North Korea, when it comes to reverence, it's Kim Il-sung, the country's founder, who holds an almost divine status. His legacy remains as the eternal president, even long after his passing. They've gone so far as to create their own calendar, entirely centered on his birth date, which is April 15, 1912, the same day the Titanic met its fate. Enter the Yush calendar, a system used side by side with the Western one. So, in everyday conversation, Jush 108 translates to the year 2019. This North Korean calendar subtracts 1 year due to the absence of year 0. Growing up in North Korea, a woman shared that using the Jush year was a big deal. Not getting it right would make you the odd one out, especially in school, where they were always quizzed on it. Even after moving to South Korea, it took her ages to drop mentioning Jush alongside the Western year. Jush, meaning self-reliance, only emerged in 1997, marking the 3rd anniversary of the original Kim's passing. Since then, it's a dual-year ordeal in all North Korean materials, and everyone's expected to be on board. The government's made sure it's hard to forget, linking so much around the birthdays of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. When constructing a new bridge, the target is to complete it by the 60th birthday of the general. The Yuchi year seeps into every nook and cranny of daily life. There's simply no dodging it. Number 8. Basketball has its own rules. When news broke that Kim Jong-un and Dennis Rodman were tight, everyone collectively did a double-take. Basketball is an absolute obsession for the current ruler and his late father. Kim Jong-il, the previous leader, apparently had full-size courts in most of his palaces. Rumor has it he even curated a library stocked with videos of almost every Michael Jordan Bulls game. The late Kim's basketball passion was so well known that Secretary of State Madeleine Albright gifted him a ball signed by Jordan in 2000. Although there was an offer for Jordan to visit North Korea, he passed. Instead, Kim Jong-un later had a hoop date with none other than Rodman. Jong-un, who attended school in Switzerland, was said to be a powerhouse on the court. He was competitive, tough, and speedy. Now, here's where it gets interesting. North Korea decided to shake up the game they love so much. While they follow standard rules in international matches, they've got their own playbook at home. In North Korean hoops, slam dunks snag 3 points, and a 3-pointer counts 4 if the ball swishes without even grazing the rim. And get this, baskets scored in the final 3 seconds get you a whopping 8 points. To keep things spicy, missing a free throw costs a point. You can bet this rule adds a whole new layer of strategy, especially when the score is neck and neck. Number 7. Drugs are considered gifts. North Korea's struggle with drug abuse, particularly methamphetamine, stands out amidst global drug problems. Back in the 70s, the government aimed to generate revenue by overseeing opiate production. When natural disasters wrecked poppy fields in the 90s, they pivoted to producing meth. This shift sparked a surge in domestic meth usage. Presently, the government doesn't produce meth, but the demand remains high. Former factory workers now operate small-scale meth labs, offering a vital income source for impoverished families. Despite the government's efforts to deter usage by deeming it illegal and unpatriotic, there's an alarming lack of drug treatment facilities. Consequently, a significant portion of the population is ensnared by addiction. Studies suggest that around 40% of North Koreans who experiment with meth end up addicted. Defectors reveal that in some towns, up to 80% of residents are users. Shockingly, meth has taken on a bizarre status as a luxury and even a common gift. It is primarily exchanged during Lunar New Year, especially among the younger populace. In North Korea, meth consumption is casual, akin to smoking a cigarette, often viewed merely as an energy booster. Additionally, it's believed to alleviate hunger pangs among a population struggling with food scarcity. This concerning acceptance and usage of methamphetamine illustrate the depths of the nation's drug crisis. Number 6. Human feces used as fertilizer. In North Korea, there's a dire shortage of food, and the reasons behind it are a mix of government priorities and scarcity of vital resources. The country's focus on the military and nuclear weapons over agriculture, coupled with the lack of chemical fertilizers, contributes to the crisis. The inability to produce their own fertilizers, combined with sanctions preventing imports, adds to the woes. Desperate farmers in dire need of help for their crops turn to an unconventional solution: night soil, a polite way of saying human waste used as fertilizer. Starting around 2010, shops dedicated to selling human excrement began appearing, as per the National Post. While families had long used their waste, the scarcity of such resources made selling it a viable option. By 2014, Kim Jong-un publicly advocated for the use of human and livestock manure on crops, mainly sourcing from humans due to the scarcity of livestock. Surprisingly, this unconventional fertilizer gained a reputation for producing especially delicious vegetables. In situations where families couldn't produce enough waste or afford to buy it, some resorted to stealing waste from other households. However, the use of human waste comes with serious health risks. It's certainly not a hygienic practice. Many defectors from North Korea have been found to harbor intestinal worms, and there's a disturbing case of a soldier discovered with a massive 10.5-inch worm. These parasites drain nutrients from individuals, leading to severe health consequences and contributing to the overall poor health conditions in the country. It's time for today's subscriber's pick. The North Korean regime is full of rules and regulations, and as we've discussed, going against the law can be considered treachery. When things come down to life and death, a lot of things become normal in their everyday life. News started to circulate about the absurd things happening in the area, and among those things was this image that was submitted by an anonymous subscriber. At first glance, it seems absurd. The urinals are massive and are being used by women. It doesn't seem like a comfortable position to relieve yourself, does it? Well, according to claims, this image originated in North Korea, and what you see is simply deceiving. Instead of two women relieving themselves in the bathroom, it is two men dressed up like women. With wigs of long black hair and skirts, they pretend to be the opposite gender as an act of resistance. Because let's face it, nothing good comes out of oppressing a whole nation. Self-expression through fashion, clothes, or any other kind of entertainment is considered illegal, so this is how people choose to express themselves. They defy the norm in the ways they can. Do you think these men could get caught for what they're doing? What do you think their punishment would be? The answers await. Remember to comment down below with the hashtag subscriber pick. Number 5. The fashion police. To maintain control, some believe that dressing everyone in uniforms limits the desire to rebel. North Korea takes this notion to an extreme by strictly dictating its citizens' appearances. The government-run women's magazine insists on clothing that's modest and loose-fitting, strictly banning any foreign fashion trends. Expressing individuality through attire is discouraged and labeled contrary to the socialist way of living. While reports about limited haircut options in North Korea remain unverified, the magazine does prescribe that women shouldn't grow their hair long. However, in the quest for personal expression, rebellion takes root. The New York Times notes that women in Pyongyang often flaunt stiletto heels, shorter skirts, and vibrant clothing, defying these stringent norms. A bustling underground market thrives, dealing in South Korean clothing and makeup. To crack down on these displays of self-expression, literal fashion enforcers step in. Whistle-carrying women's unions oversee and enforce dress codes for females, while the Socialist Youth League monitors younger generations. Married women are expected to adhere to specific standards, with their husbands responsible for ensuring compliance. Regulations encompass a strict no to blue jeans, hair dye, or conspicuous makeup. Punishments are doled out publicly and vary from verbal reprimands to drastic actions like forced haircuts, physical assault, or even the destruction of offending clothing on the spot. Number 4. Mandatory Kim Dynasty portraits. Amidst the looming threat of Tropical Storm Kanun, North Koreans received a peculiar but crucial directive: safeguard the sanctity of the portraits honoring their ruling Kim dynasty. The Rodong Sinmun, the official paper of the Korean Workers' Party, emphasized the utmost priority of preserving the propaganda portraits of the current leader, Kim Jong-un, alongside his father, Kim Jong-il, and the country's founding figure, Kim Il-sung. Not only were citizens urged to protect these portraits, but they were also called upon to ensure the safety of various monuments glorifying the Kim dynasty, scattered across North Korea since its establishment in 1948. The country, already vulnerable due to weak infrastructure and deforestation, faces peril in the wake of natural disasters, especially given the storm's potential to cause floods and landslides. North Korea, recognizing the imminent threat, has initiated a vigorous campaign across sectors to tackle the aberrant weather conditions, issuing warnings of strong winds, heavy rain, and tidal waves. The significance placed on safeguarding these portraits isn't just about imagery, it's a symbolic reinforcement of the regime's legitimacy. In North Korea, these portraits aren't mere decorations. They hold religious significance, akin to sacred icons in religious practices. The gravity of this directive reflects the nation's theocratic nature, where reverence for these symbols is considered fundamental. State media revealed preparations in progress, with both military and ruling party members mobilizing efforts to mitigate flood risks and protect agricultural yields. The message is clear. In a nation where these symbols are revered as sacred, preserving them is a testament to unwavering loyalty and a mandate reinforced with religious fervor. Number 3. A massive abandoned hotel. In 1987, a huge project began in North Korea's capital, Pyongyang, the construction of a pyramid-shaped skyscraper that was set to redefine the city's skyline. This impressive structure, named the Ryugyong Hotel, aimed for the skies, envisioned to soar beyond 1,000 feet and accommodate a staggering 3,000 rooms alongside 5 revolving restaurants boasting breathtaking panoramic views. Initially slated for a swift completion by 1989, the hotel hit an unexpected roadblock, never welcoming a single guest. Though it reached its intended height in 1992, the edifice remained an empty shell, a concrete behemoth overlooking the city, earning the nickname Hotel of Doom. Its unfinished appearance loomed large, leaving it as a silent enigma, shrouded in speculation about its fate. Over the years, efforts were made to clothe the structure in metal and glass, while LED lights were strategically installed, transforming the dormant giant into a mesmerizing nocturnal spectacle. Yet, despite these enhancements, the hotel remained an unfinished ordeal, evoking endless curiosity about its prospects of ever-accommodating guests. Even now, the Ryugyong Hotel stands as the world's tallest unoccupied building, its grandeur and mystery making it a centerpiece of intrigue. In a recent rebirth of sorts in 2018, LEDs were fitted on its exterior, converting the colossal structure into a vibrant canvas for a propaganda showcase. An illuminated 4-minute display narrates North Korea's history and displays political slogans, with the pinnacle projecting a colossal North Korean flag. The spectacle is described as striking, especially after years of darkness enveloping the huge structure. He highlighted the intermittent nature of the display, likely a conservation measure to preserve scarce electricity. More recently, significant developments have unfolded around the hotel site, enabling public access to its front entrance, albeit without entry. In a symbolic gesture, a sign was erected in June 2018, boldly declaring the Ryugyong Hotel in both Korean and English, offering a glimmer of hope that someday this monument might welcome visitors through its doors. Number 2. The Rungrado May Day Stadium. In North Korea's capital, Pyongyang, lies the colossal Rungrado 1st of May Stadium, a spectacle boasting 200,000 seats, making it double the size of Wembley Stadium. However, despite its monumental size and grandeur, this architectural marvel is mostly deserted. Constructed in 1989, this massive stadium was envisioned to be a hub for globally renowned shows and sporting extravaganzas. Yet since its inception, it's been an enigmatic edifice, often sitting idly, gathering dust while silently dominating the skyline. When used, most attendees are not there by choice, often ushered in by the North Korean state. Inside this mammoth arena, thousands upon thousands of people pack the stadium to its brim, creating an eerie atmosphere. While it was refurbished in 2015, most events held within its walls are scarce and known to a limited audience outside North Korea. The stadium's massive scale is staggering, with 16 arches adorning its scalloped roof, covering 242,000 square feet pitch below. Rising 8 stories high, its roof reaches more than 200 feet above the ground. History tells tales of its grandeur, a venue for the colossal Collision in Korea wrestling event in 1995, hosting 350,000 spectators, an unprecedented attendance record. The show, a joint effort by wrestling leagues, captivated the audience with legends like Ric Flair, Scott Steiner, and Muhammad Ali. Yet most attendees were reportedly compelled by the North Korean government. Despite occasional events like the 2018 AFCU 23 Championship, the 2018 Inter-Korean Summit, and a special gymnastics performance in 2019, the stadium predominantly remains silent. Abandoned, it echoes a history of coerced attendance and a sporadic display of events. While it currently stages minor football matches, occasional athletic events, and the Ararang Festival Games, the stadium stands as a ghost of its former glory. Its towering presence remains a testament to its unparalleled size, though its true potential lies dormant. Number 1. State-approved hairstyles. North Korea's beauty standards, both official and unofficial, offer an unexpected peek into the country's psyche. A tweet unearthed North Korea's purported catalog of government-approved women's hairstyles, sparking discussions about state-sanctioned beauty norms. North Korean folks have a surprisingly limited pool of hairstyles to choose from, with just 15 officially approved cuts, as per claims made about the hair regulations under Kim Jong-un's regime. Illustrated guides have surfaced in Pyongyang's hair salons, supposedly showcasing hairdos given the nod by the authorities. Interestingly, none of the approved styles for men seem to match the distinctive haircut favored by the country's leader. Finnish journalist Mika Mäkeläinen shared snapshots of these guides, stumbled upon during his coverage of the Day of the Sun festivities, marking 105 years since Kim Il-sung's birth. During his visit, Mäkeläinen even indulged in a salon visit, opting for what he deemed as the most popular style among the offerings. He marveled at the experience, describing it as the best shave and head massage he had ever encountered. In a series of tweets, Mäkeläinen highlighted the gender equality aspect, noting that both men and women have access to the same 15 haircut options. He also emphasized that hair coloring doesn't seem to be on the approved list. While the approved hairstyles don't resemble Kim Jong-un's distinctive look, Twitter users pointed out that these guides might be more like suggestions for customers rather than strict regulations. Reports from 2015 suggested that Kim Jong-un had pushed for men to emulate his ambitious hairstyle, limiting hair growth to a maximum of 2 centimeters. Those defying these stringent rules risked mandatory haircuts by authorities, especially in academic institutions, which were cautioned against adopting capitalist styles. While women reportedly weren't mandated to sport Kim's stylized cut, they were said to be encouraged to mimic his wife, Ri Solju's bob cut. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.